Red.
All right, here we go.
It's red.
Welcome, everyone, to the Zoning Board's Thursday, June 12th, 2025 meeting, which is this evening. And I'm pretty happy because the sun's out. It's been out all day. We didn't have any rain today, so I think we're all in a very good mood. I hope everyone out there is in a very good mood. So why don't we start by the Pledge of Allegiance, please, and make sure your phones are off. Oh, okay.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, Heather, would you like to start, please?
Yeah, so we have two extension requests on tonight. The first being appeal number 2022-039 for HK Ventures, 4285 Middle Country Road in Calverton, Suffolk County Tax Map number 600-116-1-2. This was Industrial C Zoning. They are requesting their second one-year extension, thus expiring June 8th of 2026.
So moved.
Second.
All right. Mr. Porsche.
Aye.
Mr. Wasinski.
Zaweski.
Zaweski, thank you.
Aye.
Mr. Barnes.
Aye.
Mr. Gazzello.
Aye.
And I vote aye. Go.
Okay, next extension request, appeal number 2022-049, TomCat Realty Holdings LLC, 901-932 Scott Avenue, Calverton, Suffolk County Tax Map number 600-135.20-1-1 PIP Zoning, and they are requesting a second one-year extension, thus expiring May 11th of 2026.
So moved.
Second.
Aye.
Mr. Porsche.
Aye.
Mr. Zaweski.
Aye.
Mr. Barnes.
Aye.
Mr. Gazzello.
Aye.
And I vote aye.
Okay, next we have a reserved decision, appeal number 2025-011, 1086 Old Country Road LLC, 1086 Old Country Road, Riverhead, Suffolk County Tax Map number 600-108-3-19, Shopping Center Zoning, use of a cannabis retail dispensary. Applicant requests variances and/or relief from Town Code Chapter 301-283.20, where proposed site is located within 1,000 feet of a school, where no retail or on-site consumption establishment shall be established or located within 1,000 feet, measured from the nearest property lines of each of the affected parcels of any school, library, or daycare facility.
All right, the board has issued a full-length decision. I will read the conclusions and determinations, which are as follows. The board has carefully reviewed and considered all of the testimony and evidence submitted in connection with the application, as well as the findings set forth in that long-form decision. After this careful review, the board hereby determines that the benefit of granting the area variance request is substantially outweighed by the detriment of granting the area variance request to the health, safety, and welfare of the community, and hereby denies the application. Based on the foregoing, this board hereby denies the application in its entirety.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All right, Mr. Porsche.
Aye.
Mr. Zaweski.
Aye.
Mr. Barnes.
Aye.
Mr. Gazzello.
Aye.
And I vote aye. So that's our decision. Go ahead, Heather.
Okay, for new appeals, the first of the evening is appeal number 2025-019, Kim Stosky, 4 11th Street, Wading River, Suffolk County Tax Map number 600-33-6-24.1, Residence B80 zoning to legalize an existing shed. Applicant requests variances and/or relief from Town Code Chapter 301-29A1B, where proposed accessory side yard setback is 5.3 feet, where minimum required is 25 feet, and Chapter 301-29A1C, where proposed accessory rear yard setback is 4.7 feet, where minimum required is 20 feet.
Is someone here representing this group? Please raise your right hand. I do solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Please state your name and address.
Kim Stosky, 4 11th Street, Wading River, New York, 117.
Hold that mic a little closer to you.
Can you hear me better?
Yep.
You need me to restate?
Go ahead.
Okay, so we inherited the property from my mother-in-law. You guys have been great, the town. We put an extension on, and now we're trying to get the LEPU that wasn't original because the house was from 1949 before the board existed. So we're trying to get permission for the second shed that we put a second shed on, but this shed happened to be the original shed from the 70s, but it's too close to the property line. Both my neighbors that border that have already called me. Their tickets are here. I mailed out all of the things that I was required to mail out. In my haste, I mistyped the date, so I went back to the post office and re-sent certified letters explaining well, I work for the state, so I do everything legally, because I'm a regulator for the state of New York. So I went back and I resubmitted everything with the apology that I submitted. I did submit your town letter, I just didn't put the correct date. I put the 19th instead of the 12th, so I resubmitted stating that I made the error. The date was the 12th, and resubmitted that certified letter again, return receipt requested. So that is all the requirements I feel I have fulfilled. The only requirement I have left is the affidavit that has to be notarized. I didn't realize that until I was
I
here.
can
So-
confirm we received pictures of the posters being up at least a week beforehand and also today. I also have the certified mailing receipts, the green cards. In addition, our letter that the town furnishes for the applicant did have the correct hearing date and time on it. But it's, it's good that you corrected that. I have both copies of the applicant's letter in the file.
And the zoning board of appeals letter was included in the
In
mailing?
both sets.
Okay.
What department do you work for?
New York State Department of Health. I'm a nurse.
As long as it wasn't DMV,
No, I'm a nurse.
because I would have to get up there and,
I work for the Department of Hospitals, Complaints and Grievances.
you have to make an appointment now to go to DMV.
Oh, no, that's not me.
Can you imagine that? You can't
Yeah,
show
but
up
actually,
anymore.
it saves a lot of time, I'll be honest with you. It saves a lot of time.
They have 2 security guards outside, like they're gonna beat you to death.
I haven't been
Try to
since
walk in.
everything changed. I haven't been since COVID, I should say, so.
Okay. All right, so you're exonerated.
Thank you.
So there's two sheds.
There's 2 sheds.
Correct me if I'm wrong. One of the sheds is actually part of a chicken coop.
Correct. And that's the newer shed.
Right.
And then the existing shed, which I promised my mother-in-law I would not take down Pop's shed when she passed, that's the shed that right now, that when we did the property lines, we realized is actually 4.7 feet from the property line as opposed to 5 feet from the property line. But then I learned that I actually needed one of the sheds variance because of the second shed rule, which I didn't realize at the time.
So to the one side, it's actually 5.3, and to the other, as you pointed out, is 4.75.
Correct.
Heather, can you just confirm for me the impervious surface coverage?
Yes, hold on one second. Okay, so the lot based on the entire size of the lot, her max impervious surface coverage pursuant to the small lot ordinance under which this lot would fall is 20%, or 3,200 square feet. And even with the house, both of the sheds, the driveway, the wood platform, the roofed over wood steps, she comes in at under 3,000 square feet. So she is significantly under the allowable impervious surface coverage.
Thank you.
What is that wooden thing that looks like a pool?
A pond.
It's
It's a
a
koi
pond.
pond. We
I like
actually
that.
took the koi from my house in Rocky Point when we sold that and brought them over.
Oh.
Literally stood like a fisherman on the edge of the pond with a net and scooped every one of them
Okay.
out and brought them over.
All right, just curious.
Come on over anytime.
It's a
see.
very nice house,
Thank you.
and it was nice you merged that other lot with it.
Thank you. And now you should come see it because we did a lot
We
of.
did.
Oh, you did? Okay,
We've all
good. I'm
been
glad you
We
guys
were there.
wanted to see. We're still working on it. It's getting.
No, it's very nice. You're doing a
Thank you.
great job.
Thank you. We
Okay.
tried to honor my mother-in-law and my father-in-law when we thought of the colors and the things that we did with it.
Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this variance? We don't have anybody streaming, do we?
I have one person on Zoom, Amanda Olson, but I don't know if she's for this appeal. She does not have her hand raised to speak at this time.
Okay. Anybody else have a question? Let's read it.
Mr. Chairman, with respect to appeal number 2025-019, I move that the appeal of Kim Storsky of 4 11th Street, Wading River, Suffolk County Tax Map 600-33-6-24.1, in Residence B80 zoning for variances and/or relief from Town Code, Chapter 301-29A1B, where proposed accessory side yard setback is 5.3 foot, where minimum required is 25 foot, in Chapter 301-29A1C, where proposed accessory rear yard setback is 4.7 foot, where minimum required is 20 foot, be granted in accordance with the applications and sketches with amendments thereto, if any, as filed with the building inspector.
Second.
Mr. Porsche,
Aye.
Mr. Zawiski.
Aye.
Mr. Barnes.
Aye.
Mr. Gazillo.
Aye.
And I vote aye. So your variance has been granted.
Thank
luck.
you.
Good
Is
luck.
there anything I need to do now?
No, so in addition to providing the paper to me tomorrow, you'll receive a
Nice
written
tie.
determination, which will also be forwarded to the
tie.
building department, so you'll have to follow up with them to get your permit situated.
Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen.
Did
Appreciate
you
it.
pick out his tie? Did you, ma'am? Ma'am,
Yep, sorry.
did you pick his tie out?
It's a shirt, yes, I did. He's a chicken papa. He goes out and feeds them every morning. He picks up the eggs every day. He's the chicken papa.
Nice tie.
I like that chicken pop.
Goes well
I
with
just
your
told him I
shorts, too.
can't believe you wore that shirt here.
Are you related to any other Storskys in there?
Yeah, I'm Fran Stosky. Greg's my brother.
Greg's your brother? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I went to school with him. Yeah.
Yes, I know.
Thank you.
I recognize you.
Okay, good.
I told him no nepotism. He's not allowed to talk to anybody.
Oh.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Good night.
Okay, we're gonna
Have a good night.
Good night.
Gentlemen, thank you, man.
Take care.
take care now.
Heather, you want to keep us going?
Yes, okay, next up, we have appeal number 2025-020, Jeffrey and Bay Salins, I apologize if I pronounced that wrong, 47 Highview Drive, Wading River, Suffolk County Tax Map number 600-49-3-17, Residence B80 zoning, to legalize a shed in a front yard. Applicant requests variances and/or relief from Town Code Chapter 301-29A1A, where existing shed is located in front yard, not permitted.
I think so.
Are you attorney, ma'am?
I am not,
Oh, sorry.
luckily.
You're lucky, huh? Okay. You solemnly swear, tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I
So
do.
help you God.
I do.
Please state your name and address.
Lisa Poyer, Twin Forks Permits, on behalf of the applicant, 288 East Montauk Highway, Hampton Bays, New York, 11946. The application before you tonight is to legalize a shed that's located in the front yard of the residence. The shed in question's been there for quite some time. It may have been, I think it's been reconstructed a couple times by the owner. I have photographs of the shed if you'd like to see them.
We've
all
seen
been
it.
there.
We were at the site.
Okay, it's a plastic Rubbermaid shed. It's part of the garden wall that's on the property for the homeowner.
May I have just one copy of the photo, just for the
Sure.
record?
You're just from the street.
We could take pictures for you.
There's two sheds on the property. One of them is actually behind the front line of the house, so that one is legal with regards to setbacks and location. This one, like I said, it's been there for quite some time. The homeowner didn't know it. He applied to do some work to his deck, and when they were trying to close out all the deck permits, the building inspector noticed that the one shed was actually in the front yard by a small margin.
Can we cut to the chase?
Sure.
Would your client consent to moving it back to the property line with the house?
It'd be a big undertaking because
It's, from what we understand, it's plastic, it's probably portable.
it's on a old foundation, and it's actually part of the garden. It holds up the garden fencing, and to move it back would actually impede into his garden area. And it's been there, it's a substantial sized shed. It's 8 by 10.
It's just such a large piece of property, and to have that break the front line, it doesn't fit the code.
None of the neighbors have any issues with the shed. Like I said, it's been there for quite a while. It's not really substantially visible from the road in other areas.
I have one.
So your client previously had a shed on the property and removed it,
It's in the DEC
correct?
line.
I think that was in a different location in a different shed.
Okay, but they knew the shed requirements, is my point.
I don't believe they removed it. I think they removed it because they didn't need it or something. They didn't remove it because of the shed requirements.
Okay.
It was,
So, but your clients installed this second shed.
At some point, yes. It's
And-
been there for probably 15 years or so.
And they did it without any approvals.
It replaced other shed that used to be there beyond that. There's been a shed there, there's been multiple sheds in the property. One of them went away. This one replaced an older one, but that was probably 15, 18 years ago.
Well, as it was pointed out, there's ample room on the property to move the shed to a location which is not in the front yard. And as far as stabilization of the garden, they could, quote, restabilize that in another fashion. True?
I'll have to go to the client about it and see what he has to say. But he'd requested to keep the shed in the location. Like I said, it's a wall of the garden. It blocks the garden from the street. It's substantially far back from the street itself because the house is set further back.
And it's substantially in the front yard.
Are any of the neighbors complaining?
None of the neighbors have complained. They all support the application.
Did you get any letters of support?
We can get letters of support, but none of the neighbors have expressed any objections to it.
I'll be quite frank, notwithstanding what the neighbors were, it's a clear violation of code, but, and I'd be disinclined to approve it. If you were to tell me that they're gonna move it, I would go along with that.
I'll have to take it back to the client.
It's just kind of a precedent. We approve this, then anyone that has a shed in the front yard can come up here and expect to get approved. I mean, it's a difficult thing for us to do, but we've got to uphold the law.
Okay, I'll have to go back to the client and approach him about it. If we could leave the application open?
You want to join it till next time?
Our next meeting is July 10th, just because we don't have a second meeting in June,
All right.
so.
I don't see how we can approve it, I'm sorry.
All right, you adjourn it?
Yes.
Chairman, I make a motion, we adjourn this till the next meeting, which is July 10th, I believe you said?
July 10th, yes.
I second.
All right. Mr. Porsche,
Aye.
Mrs. Wesky.
Aye.
Mr. Barnes.
I to adjourn.
Anyone?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Gazillo.
Aye.
And I vote aye.
All right, thank you.
I think there's a spot on there that would be found that
Like I
make
said,
it
I'll have to go
look
back
good
to the
also.
client and talk to him about it.
Thank you. Thank you. Good night.
Okay, and last appeal of the night is appeal number 2025-021, Thomas DiChiaro, 533 Pecan Bay Boulevard, Aquabog, Suffolk County Tax Note Number 600-87-2-4, Residence B40 zoning to legalize sheds. Applicant requests variances and/or relief from Town Code Chapter 301-15A1C, where accessory side yard setback is 3 feet and the minimum required is 25 feet, where accessory rear street line setback is .7 feet and the minimum required is 50 feet, and where setback between accessory structures is 0 feet and the minimum required is 10 feet.
All right. Please raise your right hand and solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Please state your name and address.
Tom DiChiaro, 533 Peconic Bay Boulevard, Aquabog.
Please tell us what you're looking.
Hold on. All right, for matters which do not appear in the record, I recuse myself on this. You can proceed.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I purchased the home about 2 years ago, and there were 2 existing sheds in the backyard. I maintained them, didn't change anything, didn't move anything, and now I'm here to ask for a variance to continue to maintain those 2 sheds.
The large shed, do you use that for what? The large.
They're both storage. One is a finished shed, but it's just storage of my summer things that I put in there in the summer, and then we put other things inside the shed. I have bicycles in there and sports equipment and lawn equipment.
This has a finished floor and also an air conditioning unit in it?
There is an air conditioning unit there, which I've never turned on, so
Is it being used for an office?
it is not.
Do either you and your wife work from home?
This is actually a second home of ours, so I do work from home, but not from here. I did work from here today in the home. So no, I do not use it for an office.
So Heather, we located a real estate listing, is that correct?
Yes, it was 2023 that actually advertised that second shed as, I will quote, "Off the patio lies a climate-controlled office for work-from-home owner seeking privacy." But that was in the real estate listing.
So was that prior to your purchase?
That was prior to my purchase, so
And when did you purchase the property?
2023, the middle of 2023? Do you mean it's existing prior to my purchase? Yes. 100%. I
The
haven't
real
done-
estate listing
That's
was
correct.
prior to your purchase.
It must have been, but I did purchase the home in June of 2020. So maybe it was July that we purchased.
Heather,
the
do you
home,
have a date on that listing?
I do not.
So what do you use the larger shed for storage of?
In the winter, I store my the lawn furniture, the barbecue, so the cushions that we have on the lawn furniture. That's what's in there. I guess there's a couple of coolers in there. And the other shed is more bicycles and lawn equipment and things like that.
What are you using the small shed for?
That's the one that has bicycles in it and lawn equipment and
That's it?
things like that, yeah.
And are you adverse, do you understand the smaller shed is a little too close to the property line?
That's correct, yeah. And I was told that this is oddly enough, they say that I have 2 front yards, which is why the shed is too close to the property line. Well, I guess that shed is very close to the property line,
Okay.
yeah.
So if the zoning board of appeals, you have obviously electric going to the larger shed, correct?
Correct, yes.
And do you have a certificate of occupancy or an electrical inspection for that?
I don't, but that was the shed that I was looking for the building permit for. So the reason why I went into this is that I had a violation of, which I'm not sure how that happened, but I had a violation. There was nobody complaining. I know the people around me, and I spoke to them recently about this. But there was a violation about the shed, and I was working on getting a permit, and this is the first step, I guess.
So, just asking a question. If the zoning board of appeals was inclined to grant relief related to the larger shed, subject to electrical inspection and approval, would you be amenable to relocating the smaller shed to a location in the side yard, which would conform and meet the code requirements?
So the code requirements, I think you stated 25 feet, is that right? Because I don't have that much feet on my
This
property.
is a small lot ordinance, Heather, so.
Yeah, so the reason why the 25 feet is called out is because you don't even meet the requirements for the small lot ordinance, which for accessory structures on a property of this size would be 10 feet. But when you don't meet that requirement, the building department has to furnish a denial letter that references your existing zoning, because the small lot ordinance is just that, it's an ordinance.
Okay.
So the probable smaller hurdle is relocating the smaller shed and having the approval for the larger shed, which has electric. It is, for lack of a better word, more improved than the smaller shed, true?
True, that's correct, yeah.
So again, I asked the question, if the zoning board of appeals was inclined to grant relief for the larger shed, the more improved shed, and subject to electrical inspection and relocation of the smaller shed to the side yard, would you be amenable to
I
that?
suppose I could if that was the only way out here. These sheds have been there for many years. The guy behind me said it's maybe 10 years the sheds have been there with no complaints or anything like that. So I suppose I could move this shed. I don't know where I would move it to, and I don't know how much the setback needs to be. But there's other areas that you could put a shed in. I will grant you that. There's large enough property to do that.
And Heather, just to reiterate and repeat, if the smaller shed were to be relocated to the side yard, what would the distance requirements be?
Under the small lot ordinance, it's 10 feet from the property line.
So
So
looking at your survey, it appears you have adequate room in that side yard that you could meet it, thereby, if the zoning board of appeals granted the relief for the larger, you relocated the smaller, all structures could be
So-
legalized.
I'm not looking at the survey right now, but I'm going to guess that the.
Would you like a copy?
I have it right here.
Okay.
I could take it out and look at it. Let me do that. That side yard you're talking about, where they make these numbers small, is a total of 30 feet. With a shed that's sort of 8 by 10, this would be in the middle of that piece of property there. That I'm talking about this area where the two sheds are in the back, and then you have that square mark that seems to be 30 feet by sort of 25 feet-ish, I'm guessing. The shed would literally have to be in the middle of that area, which makes that somewhat unusable. It's right now a play area for my kid and his friends. When they come over, they play soccer over there, whatever it is. We have the other side there, but point is that shed would literally be in the middle of that area right there. Being 10 feet, 10 feet, 10 feet from the house, whatever it is, it's literally going to be in the middle there, which would, that I wouldn't move that shed. I would have to do something else.
Right. Or you could relocate it to the opposite side.
Let me ask you,
I'm not sure how easy it is to, I'm not an architect here, but I'm not sure how easy it is to relocate a shed that is a wooden shed with a wooden base floor. I don't think you pick it up and you move it. I'm just being honest with you. It would have to be coming down in that case, because I don't think you could forklift this thing up.
Is it on the?
I can't see how it would even get through the backyard, this big structure, and have a crane bring it over to the, I'm not sure how that would work. I think you would best remove the whole shed in that case. But
do you
again,
do you absolutely need this small shed?
it's nice to have. We have things in there. I mean, it's nice to have a shed where we put all of our chairs that we put in there, or whatever it is. We have a bunch of stuff in there. People they got lots of stuff. You can get rid of stuff too. And I'm not making a joke of it, but it's just, I don't think it would be feasible to move that shed even a little bit. It's on a base, gravel, whatever. I'm sure that it could be done with someone
Right.
more
It's
knowledgeable
not-
about this.
It's not
than
on a foundation.
No, it's not on a foundation. No, it's definitely not on a foundation. I would say 100% not, but I can't see that shed being able to be moved. And there is one letter from the neighbor saying that's, they're okay with where it is. Of course, these are the neighbors behind us, where the shed is close to this, what I thought was a private road, but it turns out that's not a private road. There's Woloski Way.
I can confirm we received correspondence from the neighbors, Ken and Tiffany Smitelli, in support of the application, but they had requested that the rail fence be reestablished and hedging be considered.
Yeah, so I told them that I would take care of that. There is a fence there where, again, when I bought the house, the rails were not there. So he said, the rails on the other side are on the floor. Just pick it up and put it in there, he told me the other day. And I'm like, sure, I could put that fence back up that you want, to put back up there. And I also don't mind putting up the hedging that stops short of the shed there.
And just, I looked it up, the listing, the real estate listing was from January 3rd, 2023, and per Suffolk County deed search records, the house closed in July of 2023. That's when the new deed was
I see.
recorded.
Thank you.
Heather, pursuant to the town code, 10 feet is required between accessory structures, correct?
Correct, and
And did the building department denial list the failure to have the 10 feet between the structures?
originally, no, but it was corrected.
Okay.
Upon further review. I will note that the zoning does allow one shed under 144 square feet, but it's specific to the rear yard, and it does call out a 5-foot setback, where a permit would not even be required. So that's separate from the small lot ordinance.
May I read it this way? Linda?
Is this the, I remember this. Is this a garage right here? What's the garage
No,
under?
this is an open area. This is where they play, they do stuff like that in that area.
Why don't they just increase the size of this thing?
So, I mean, if they split over this way, but then he runs into this next 10 foot, right? So you come off there, you gotta go 10 foot, and then you got 8 foot, so you're back into the middle of that.
Well, that's
Yeah.
not a building though, is it? Right here?
No, it's not a building.
It's open space, so if they increased it,
Right, but what he's saying is if I take this and I move it, I'm basically moving it right here, and then I lose the balance of the space.
Right.
And I've just gotta box it in the middle there.
Okay, no, that sounds like a good idea. That sounds like a good idea.
Show me.
Did she present that?
There's one?
Did Anne Marie present?
She asked, and he basically said if I had to move it, then it kind of renders this useless. Right, 'cause you got a box in the middle of an open spot. Personally, I'd be more inclined if you moved that shed on that side, even though you'd still be in violation,
Yeah, so you can do it here or here.
right? Or, so we'd still be in violation, but if you put it right next to the other shed, then we're giving a granting for having two sheds next to one another.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm comfortable with that.
me too.
remove it or relocate it.
Right, but give them rather than having to go either go over here, just give the okay to put it right next door.
It's only gotta be 10 feet.
Off the shed, then you're back over here into the middle. That's his argument, is all of a sudden I've got a play space here, I'm putting a shed right in the middle of it. It'd still be non-conforming, but it'd be non-conforming on this side, it'd be off the border. We could always argue that, okay, we gave you the allowance to have two sheds next to one another, but we got you off the border.
Well, would you agree? What if we reduced it from 10 to 5? You gotta have some separation because the electric here.
Well, why don't they just enlarge the big shed? Coming this way and just extend it this way.
Right, that's what I was saying, it's basically come on this side.
I know, but it wouldn't be attached, I mean, it'd be just an order,
Yeah,
they
then
shouldn't just throw that away.
Then you gotta rebuild, right? Out
Yeah.
you're pouring the
Then
foundation,
it-
you're doing all the rest of that
Right, and it would exceed the accessory structure.
size.
Yeah.
No, what did you say if they had a single shed, how much is structure, 144 or something?
144,
Yeah,
right?
144 is the maximum.
But then you're rebuilding the whole thing, right? So
Yeah.
you're adding, what, you're adding 4 foot on this side, and then you're at 144. It's just not worth the time and effort.
So why don't you give him the option, remove it, relocate it, if it's not worth his while.
But, so he could go 5 foot off of here, if he wanted to. Because the shed, you move sheds pretty easily. You get 6 foot PVC pipe.
Right, I
And you
know.
roll it, right?
No,
It
I
just-
know.
They go. But if we put him over here, so if you went on that side, he'd still be off of there. If he's 5 foot off of there, he's not really intruding into this whole area over there, and you got some room. Because we can legally do 5 foot off that?
No, you would grant relief for that as
Okay.
well.
I'd be inclined to do that. Kind of solves 2 problems, and you're not
I
right
think
up
that's a
against
good
one another.
idea.
Then you're talking about going right here?
Yeah, so basically moving it to the east of the other shed, just off of it by 5 foot.
So like this?
Yeah, yep.
And how many feet off the lot line?
It'd still probably be 5
It's
foot.
got to be conforming. It'll be the 10 feet.
Yeah, same, but 10
Yep.
feet is there already, right?
Yep,
So you're
yep,
right next to the other
yep.
shed, so.
And acceptable located within
No matter where you move it, it's not.
5 feet
I don't know what they're talking about.
existing.
Shed. So there's gonna be 5 feet between the 2 sheds.
It's not 10 by 5.
10.5 by 10.6.
I think that's a good compromise. I don't know if he wants to remove it.
You can
he
remove it, yeah, that's, we can, it eliminates the whole issue.
Yep, okay.
And then accept the proposed location within 5 feet of the existing 10 by 6 shed. Okay. All right.
So we want to try to explain this first?
Yeah, why don't you give him an explanation, and then we'll read it.
So, Mr. DiChiaro.
DiChiaro.
DiChiaro? So what we're going to read, but basically what we're going to come back to you with is you could remove the shed completely, the smaller shed, or you could put it to the east of the existing shed, but rather than having to be 10 foot off that existing shed, you could move it 5 foot off that existing shed. It'd still be 10 foot, the southern portion would still be parallel to the existing shed, the larger shed, so you'd still be 10 foot off there. That wouldn't really put a shed in the middle of your open space. You'd be 10 foot off, depending upon which way you, well, that shed's 8.2 by 8.2, so really regardless which way you'd have a block over there. Sheds are not, to move a shed like that, I don't know what else you have over there. I see some wood curbing, but generally, if you have someone come and deliver a shed to you, they'll put down usually 6 to 8 inch PVC pipe. They jack it up and they just roll it. They'll roll it back and forth, and it'll take them all of maybe 20 minutes to move the thing. You don't need cranes or anything else like that for a shed that size.
Yeah.
But that's in essence what is going to come back to you in terms of this reading.
So you're saying move the shed out in front from looking at it this way, in front of the existing shed, 5 feet off the existing shed.
To the east side of it,
To the
right?
east
Because
side.
in front of it for you would be your front of your house faces
To
east.
the east, yes.
Right, so you'd move it to the east side of that existing shed.
So you, of course, you guys have not seen my property, maybe Ralph has, but I'm certainly not going to do that, because that's going to put a shed, I mean, I'm just being honest with you, that's going to put a shed right out in the walkway of coming front to back in my house. When you come into the gate, you could see where there's 2 wooden, you go towards the garage, just before it's the garage, you go into the gate and you can walk around to the back. It is literally going to put a shed where basically it says 30.1. Put a shed smack in It's not in the middle, no, it's not in the middle, it's to the back. But that would be a complete eyesore and really not something we would do. And I'm not saying, okay, because I wouldn't do it, then you guys have to do whatever I like.
Okay.
But it just wouldn't, I mean, I know you're trying to help me, so I appreciate that. But
Well, you wouldn't call your shed an eyesore, would you? Especially in light of the fact
no, I'm talking about
that it
it's in the middle
doesn't
of my
meet
yard.
the distance requirements.
No, I'm just saying that if it's in the middle of the yard where we sit with chairs and we put out a screen there and we have the kids watch a movie, we'd have a shed in the middle of that thing. It's not that, I mean, although this looks big, there's shrubberies and different wood, behind the wood is shrubberies and things like that. The area is quite small.
Okay.
Considering, what I've seen as Riverhead, yards, this side of the house is
Sure.
not small. So, anyway, to me, I just wouldn't move it there. The other side of it is that there's also structures, not structures, but there's, in order to, it just wouldn't work putting it over there, I guess.
Okay,
Yeah.
and so it's the same as the north of the house, you'd have the same type of issues then? In that smaller?
No, because again, I'm not, this isn't telling you about all the problems it would cause, but back here is also not a large area, but there's a table that we sit at for eating out there, and then there's a couple of couches over there that we've put there. So it's, although the shed looks quite small, when you put it smack in the middle of these other areas, it being tucked back there has been fine for quite a long time. And I understand that no one has gone in and got a permit to put any of these sheds, right? So you buy the house, and now I've got a problem with wherever things have ended up. But, so it's that, those things to me would not be working. And I understand you're trying to find a solution here, so I appreciate that.
I'll tell you later.
Anne Marie? Because I know I drove both sides.
Okay.
And there's, I'm not trying to say right.
Well, he's probably not gonna get a permit. But if that's the dice he wants to roll, for me, I was trying to secure him the larger one,
Well, why wouldn't you get a one for the big one?
because it doesn't meet the setbacks either. And it doesn't have electrical. But, so what we could do is, sorry.
You looking down?
Yeah, I'm just trying to get a better feel for,
Both sheds? One not
it
having.
seems like there's a lot of area here. But isn't there like some structure right here?
The big one.
I think it's just trees and bushes and stuff there. Right, but he's over, so the shed's gonna be back over here.
Get the bigger one.
It's legal, that's where the
Right
big
here.
thing is here, right there.
Yeah, it has electric. Doesn't have a bathroom, right?
So it's gonna be granted,
Yeah, I know.
and then read two.
Don't read one.
No, read this one. Granted, and then read two.
Get rid of number one.
This is the property line.
So it worded it granted, and then the conditions you can.
First granted, and then
As a
shall not be improved.
What are we doing with the small shed?
So we just.
So I think you're not reading this,
Let's go. Do it.
right? Anne Marie?
Yeah.
You're not reading this.
Correct.
We're not commenting on the small shed?
No. So this is 1, 2,
We got it.
She's recommending.
Okay.
Condition office in this.
It's a trick.
I defer to council.
All right, where are we? Do we have to run something by him again?
I don't think so.
No. Okay.
Gotta tell him what was in it.
All right.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman and
the rest of the board members with respect to appeal number 2025-021. I move that the appeal of Thomas DiCario, 533 Peconic Bay Boulevard, Aquabog, STM number 600-87-2-4, Residence B40, RB40 zoning, for variances and/or relief from the Town Code, Chapter 301-15A, 1C, where accessory side yard setback is 3 foot and the minimum required is 25 feet, and where the accessory rear street line setback is .7 feet and the minimum required is 50 feet, and where the setback between accessory structures is 0 feet, where minimum required is 10 feet, be granted, subject to the following. The larger shed shall not be improved with a positive heating supply, HVAC, and shall not be habitable space, living accommodations, sleeping, etc. Shall not be improved with kitchen or bath facilities, shall be limited in use as accessory to the single-family dwelling, 6.6 feet from rear street line. And in the event the property owner is operating a home occupation or profession, not just for personal use, from the 10.5 by 10.6 shed, a special permit from the town board pursuant to Town Code, Chapter 301-14B5 shall be required, in accordance with the applications and sketches with amendments thereto, if any, as filed with the building inspector.
If members of the Zoning Board of Appeals, if I may, and we'll just add that the relief for the small shed is granted with the added condition that you repair the fence as you agreed to with
Yep,
your
we did.
neighbors earlier. Put the slats back in and
We will do that.
Second.
Okay. Mr. Porsche,
Aye.
Mrs. Wesky,
Aye.
Mr. Barnes.
Aye.
And I vote aye. So,
Okay, thank you. I appreciate the considerations.
good luck.
Thank you.
All right. We have anything open here for minutes?
We have the April 24th, 2025 minutes and also the May 8th, 2025 minutes.
Somebody move them.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All right. Mr. Porsche.
Aye.
Mrs. Zawiski.
Aye.
Mr. Barnes.
Aye.
Mrs. Gazillo.
Aye.
And I vote aye.
And our next
You're
meeting.
good. Take care.
Our next meeting date is July 10th of 2025. So we do not have a meeting on June 26th, 2025. The next zoning board meeting date is July 10th, 2025.
Okay, so we can make a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Hey.
Aye.
Thank you. You know what's-
yes.
Close?
Yes, motion
really?
closed.